Did you enjoy Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse?
Yes.
Yes. Were you excited for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse?
No.
Did it surprise you?
Yes.
Yes. Is the animation as good as everyone is saying it is?
Yes.
Yes. Does it feel very different from other multiverse films?
Yes.
No. Would you say Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is a masterpiece? No.
I mean, if we're talking about the first parts of a film, of a two-part film, yes.
Okay. Let the intro roll. With our eyes, we can only see so far. With our bodies, we can only live one life. Agora is the moment to sit back, live only in the heart, laugh at jokes, cry at night. Let's gather at the square of the sun, discuss the done and undone, the day and night, the relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Agora podcast, episode 2. It's me, Aristotelis, and here is my co-host, Nuno. Nuno, say hi.
Hello.
And today we're talking about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, movie of 2023, directed by Joaquin Dos Santos, Justin K. Thompson, and Kemp Powers. So, Nuno, how do you feel about the first Spider-Verse movie?
So, just to contextualize, I am kind of a Spider-Man fan, so I only watched the live-action films recently before No Way Home. But I like Spider-Man as a symbol, and everyone knows Spider-Man, so I'm kind of a fan. But I wasn't at all interested in an animated Spider-Man film until I watched it, and I loved it. And this time around, I wasn't expecting to like it either. I didn't like the marketing campaign. I really felt the first film was a standalone film, and it didn't need a sequel. But I have to say, the franchise surprised me again. What about you?
So, since I was a kid, I was a Spider-Man fan. I had watched every Spider-Man TV series. I have read multiple comics. I have seen the original trilogy multiple times. I am a fan of the first film, of the first Spider-Verse film, and I was excited as soon as it was announced. None of my friends wanted to see it when it was released, so I had to travel alone and watch it alone. I was in a room packed with kids and their parents, nonetheless, and I have to say that me and the kids enjoyed it very much. I actually thought it was one of the best Spider-Man films up to date, and my friends wouldn't believe me. Except for the fact that the film looked beautiful. I think it handled perfectly the most important theme of the character, that everyone could be Spider-Man, and it also offered fun spectacle. It was a very exciting movie. I really liked it. Now, about Across the Spider-Verse, when it was announced, I was very skeptical about it because I thought that they would sacrifice the details in order to offer a more grand scale experience, a more grander story. Hence, I kept my expectations low. And I have to say that I was blown away. Story, characters, animation, direction, music, almost every aspect of the film is better than the previous one.
So I would say Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is a very good film. I think the animation, as you just said, is bold, and it's refreshing and very creative. I think the story is good enough. I think it doesn't detract from the experience. They had a good script. They made this first part feel like a complete experience. And yeah, now I'm excited about this trilogy.
Yeah. Would you like to talk about the directing, Nuno?
Yeah, and the visuals. I think the visuals are just spot on. On small occasions, mainly in Gwen's world, they would take me out of the film sometimes. But in general, the animation is the reason to watch this film. Because now, more than exploring the Spider-Man characters, we are exploring their worlds, and it's so much fun to see how the animation style varies. And yeah, the directing was good because it made it all feel very cohesive still, not too tiring or overwhelming for the eye. And I think you can feel that there is an intention to make every frame and every scene the best it can be.
I would say yes, that the directing of the film is impeccable. I think we are dealing with the best animation directors in the industry. They revolutionized the animation industry with the first Spider-Verse film, and I think they have revolutionized once again with Across the Spider-Verse. They achieved this by making every single moment of the film as exciting as possible. It does not matter if it is an action or a dialogue scene or even an info dump. They seem to always try to do something to make the moment as memorable as possible. And yeah, about the visuals. When I first saw a clip of the film, I instantly noticed that they changed the art style a bit, which did put me off a little. However, when I watched the film, not only the art style grew on me, but I also realized it was the right direction, considering the story. This art style gives the characters and the spider worlds more freedom to be distinguishable. I believe that almost every single frame of the film is beautiful, and we are talking about one of the longest animation films in cinema history. The animation was also spectacular, the action scenes felt thrilling and exciting. I have to pay close attention to how they made dialogue scenes feel like action. They have applied those dynamic backgrounds that react to the emotional state of the characters, and it works so well. And that makes the scenes that look static and realistic and grounded even more unique and impactful.
Mm-hmm. And I would add, now talking about the sound, that I think the score is on par with the visuals. I think it feels modern, it feels experimental, and yeah, look at the music in Mumbattan, for example. This film is so good.
In terms of sound design, there is a little bit of an issue. Sometimes the dialogue was inaudible due to the volume of the sound effects, explosions, etc. Now, about the soundtrack, it's really, really good. I listened to 4 or 5 songs on Spotify on repeat. I'm kind of like a soundtrack guy. I really like listening to nice soundtracks, so this is always a part that I can really much appreciate on films. The soundtrack also tends to be a little dynamic too. The main villains have their own sound motifs, and when the action becomes too chaotic, the soundtrack includes something like a drum solo, I should call it, I don't know, and the emotional tracks work perfectly too. The licensed songs were also good, but I think the first one have better licensed songs, but the sequel has better original tracks.
And now about the characters and the acting. I thought the characters in general were very well written. I liked their goals and their desires and their fears, and they felt tridimensional. Yeah, I rooted for them, and I understood why the villains were as they were. And I think in terms of acting, the cast does a very good job.
So, Across the Spider-Verse is a multiverse film, like Multiverse of Madness, like Everything Everywhere All at Once, and more recently like The Flash. A genre that seems to be really popular lately, mainly because it's a smart device to cater nostalgia and fan service, but also offer exciting and fun sequences. And Across the Spider-Verse is a great multiverse film. It offers fun, action, character moments, and of course a lot of fan service. In terms of the story, I really like how they went more in detail with Spider-Gwen's world. She was fleshed out way more. Someone could argue that she is the main character of the film, or at least that she is equally the main character with Miles. And this is the reason why, to me, this film, even though it is the first part of a 2-hour film, so practically like a 5-hour film, it does not feel unfinished. Gwen is the main character of the first half, and because by the end of the film her dramatic conflict is resolved, the film ends with a very satisfying feeling. I went to the cinema expecting to be very annoyed by a cliffhanger ending, something that kind of happened, but not as much as I expected, since it delivered mostly of what a movie should deliver, a compelling and fleshed out journey. Moreover, the movie ends like 5 times. It does not end when you expect it to end.
Yeah.
It just continues and progresses the plot, but it doesn't feel like dragged out, because what happens is very interesting. It doesn't feel like Dune 1.
Yeah, it's still exciting. Yeah, they do this build up at the end, and yeah, they get you. They make you want to watch the next film right away.
Yeah, it gives you shivers, and the music works perfectly in combination. Now about the characters. everything that I said about Gwen applies to this category too. I would like to talk about Miles now. And he keeps on being a fun protagonist. He's a fully fleshed Spider-Man now, but now he's trying to balance the duty of being Spider-Man while at the same time being a teenager that needs to go to university, spend time with his family, etc. Exactly what happens in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2, but that's fine because it's exciting and it's executed very well. The Peter Parker mentor character was a little bit of a letdown. He has been dumped down to a comic relief, and his new persona is that he's like a spider daddy. However, he's never annoying, which is good. And, clearly the writers didn't know what to do with him because his character arc in the first movie is so good. I'm fine with the fact that they didn't cancel it or they didn't backtrack to it. All the other Spider-Man variations are really fun and interesting. They're caricatures, but they're fun caricatures, and they work. And most importantly, about the two villains of the film. I won't talk extensively about them since I don't want to spoil it. They're both two different antagonist archetypes, and they are both interesting in their own unique way. Miguel is more of a reasonable antagonist, while the Spot is an extremely threatening monster villain. I thought that Miguel sometimes was kind of weaker than he appears to be, but other than that, he is great and you can feel and understand his rage and the reason why he does what he does, the reason behind his actions. Moreover, I really like what they did with the Spot. He's a villain that I have to admit I didn't know. I don't think he's a well-known Spider-Man villain, and the movie kind of depends on that, on the audience's low expectations of him, so they can progressively build his character and how threatening he becomes throughout the movie. And they do it very well. Now, performances-wise, I watched the first film in Greek, therefore I cannot compare it with the sequel. I needed 10 good minutes to get used to the English actors, especially Miles, but I believe everyone does a good job and their voices suit the characters.
Mm-hmm. No, story-wise, for me, I think the animation does a lot of the heavy lifting, and I'm actually a bit frustrated that it is hiding the cliches that the film falls into. I don't have a problem with films based on IP or that are not as original if they make you feel and think, but I'm not seeing those people that come after Disney for those reasons being here for this film as well. This is just a money grabber. And I think this is a solid film story-wise. I do think it is solid. But I think it is a bit generic. I didn't have a very big emotional response to it. I think we've seen a lot of times the secret identity / coming out stories from Hannah Montana to every other Spider-Man film out there. And we know how they're gonna go. And yeah, I think as a person that tries to see a hidden message in every film, I don't particularly like the idea that you should look further at a film that innovates technically or that is from a big auteur. I don't like it when people try to squeeze all the juice out of some films, but then they don't give any chance to others because they are just seen as popcorn entertainment. So yes, I'm going to squeeze all the juice out of this film, but because that's the idea of the show and because I do that with all films. So yeah, and you're going to see that the interpretation I'll make later can suit almost any other multiverse film.
So now we should move to the Agora section, where we're going to talk about the theme of the movie. Nuno, would you like to start or should I start?
I can start. I think there are some loose ideas here that we should find a way to connect to try to understand the message of the film in a nutshell. So we have the theme of parenting, the theme of the future and of choosing a path. We have the theme of the multiverse, the theme of determinism and fate. And I mean, just saying this and watching the film, I think you get it. It's about how the future rests in our hands and how there are so many paths available to you and how you should choose almost selfishly without letting anyone put you boundaries or limitations. I mean, if you see one of the first scenes when Miles and his parents are talking to his teacher, what does she say? That's your story, now just stick to the script. And at the end, when he's fighting to Miguel and every Spider-Man is pursuing him and trying to put him in a box, in a way, what does he say? Everybody keeps telling me how my story is supposed to go. I'm gonna do my own thing. And after that, Miles Morales, in a way, spreads his wings, as he says to his father, and decides to do what he wants. But he would never let his parents go, literally and figuratively. And that's how I would relate it to the parenting theme as well. I think parents can be seen as another limitation for someone's future at first, but you see in Miles' mother in the conversation they have in the terrace, at the end of the day, she will support him no matter what. And I think it's here that the coming out story enters. Here they tell you, your parents or your loved ones should be involved, and that will keep them alive with you, even if you decide to leave, or if you decide to do your own thing. For me, it was powerful that Gwen, coming out to his father, stopped her from losing him. If Gwen hadn't told him, he wouldn't give up from becoming the captain and would have died. So letting our parents know what's going on keeps them alive, even if they are far. And Gwen understood that we have control over our future and became part of the Miles team, as I feel a part of as well, and as the film invites you to. Listen to your loved ones, let them know, but future rests in our hands. Of course, the second part might contradict this and teach Miles that some things are inevitable. We never know, and this is my interpretation of this part.
We shall see, we shall see. I like your interpretation. I haven't touched the parenting aspect. So I would say that the theme of the film is a counter-argument to what most people call fate. The movie says that the outcome of the future rests in our hands, and we have the responsibility to embrace the challenge that comes with it. This is a theme that has been prominent in most Spider-Man films and stories. You know, the whole with great powers comes great responsibilities, and the whole point of Spider-Man is that everyone can be Spider-Man. Everyone can try to become Spider-Man, but this will come with a vast amount of responsibilities as well as with challenges. But those challenges are not meant to be avoided, but embraced. I think the character arcs of both Miles and Gwen depict this theme in a slightly different way. Miles not only has to balance being Spider-Man and teenager at the same time, but he also has to prove once again that he was meant to be Spider-Man. I'm not gonna dive into spoilers, but I will just mention that according to this film, Miles' real fate was to become a villain like his uncle. And about Gwen's story, her character arc is all about defining herself, choosing her own path in life, as well as her own social cycle, or family, if you prefer this term. And I think both stories work very well in relation to the film's grand theme.
And just adding here something, I do have to say I loved how they represented the multiverse with the webs. I think the film in general does a very good job with showing you how many options you have to choose, basically how many paths you have available. You can be whoever you want, you know? And this, it's not only freeing, it's also a bit scary because you can only be one thing, you know?
Yeah.
So I like that.
Yeah, I like that too.
But yeah, now I think we can move on to the last section, which is the ranking part of the episode. What do you think?
Yeah, so...
Do you think the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is in your top 5 Spider-Man movies?
Yes. I think maybe it's due to recency bias, but I would categorize this movie as my favorite Spider-Man movie of all time. And I would put number 2, Into the Spider-Verse, number 3, Spider-Man 2, number 4, No Way Home, and number 5, Spider-Man 3.
I'd say this is one of my favorites also, but I'm not going to rank them because I don't have a big emotional connection with the older ones. And if I do a ranking with just the Tom Holland ones and these animated ones, I'm going to be judged. So
okay,
let's just skip to the next ranking. Would you say this is in your top 5 films of the year?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, me too. Easily.
So,
what's your top 5?
I would include in my top 5 Across the Spider-Verse, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Guy Ritchie's The Covenant, Ben Affleck's Air, and I don't think I have a 5th movie right now, sadly. I don't think I have a 5th movie.
That's fine. I'd say my top 5 would be First place, Spider-Man as well. Second place would be The Little Mermaid. Oops. The third place would be Creed 3. I enjoyed that film. In fourth place would be John Wick 4. In fifth place would be Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I mean, this is going to change throughout the episodes. You're going to see I'm very indecisive. So maybe next episode it's going to be completely different. But for now, I think that's it. And in sixth place, I'm going to put Cocaine Bear.
Okay.
Because Cocaine Bear
Just
sounds
want to
like a
add it.
stupid idea, but it's such a good film. And I just love the 80s nostalgia.
Okay. So, now about multiverse films. What do you think about multiverse films? Do you like them? Do you think they will die down soon?
I was excited at first with Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and even with Loki, but I got tired of it quickly after watching Doctor Strange and Spider-Man No Way Home. And I think this kind of came to save the idea of the multiverse for me. But yeah, I have mixed feelings. I think, of course, if you do it well, it's going to be fun. If you do it badly, then it's not going to be fun. But I don't know. I think let's not oversaturate the market, right? And let's try to be original. And I would say we could do a ranking now of our favorite multiverse films, but I think we can leave it for the next episode because our next movie has to do with multiverse. It has a lot of controversy, but I think we both liked it. Let's see if you can guess. But what do you think, Aristotle?
So multiverse films. Multiverse films are everywhere, and they will oversaturate the market because that's how Hollywood works. They see one type of genre is very popular, they will make 10 movies about this genre.
Yeah.
That's how it works, and that's how Hollywood always worked anyways. But yeah, they win Oscars, they make crazy amount of money. Do I think this trend is going to die down soon? As I said previously, films like that can naturally cater a crazy amount of nostalgic fan service as well as offer a very fun, over-the-top story. Look at The Flash with the old Batman. Look at Multiverse of Madness with the old X-Men. It can naturally insert characters like that to the story. And I think this trend is going to continue until the end of the saga Marvel is right now. So the final, I think, multiverse film will be Avengers 6 on 2027. By then, so many great multiverse films will have already been released.
Or so many bad multiverse films will be released.
Exactly. And those films will also have to compete with each other. They will get way too similar, and people will lose their interest on them. I think now that DCU is rebooting,
Partially rebooting,
but according to James Gunn, they will focus on more grounded storytelling, more normal grounded films. I think the success of the new DCU will set the new trend for Hollywood. And I think it will also kind of derail the new Marvel saga, even though it's already derailed. But
I think we can continue this conversation next episode. But I don't agree. I think the DC has so much controversy. I don't know if James Gunn is gonna be able to stop it. Although I like the casting, the new Superman film. I like Rachel Brosnan a lot.
I
don't know the other guy.
I think it will work very well. I think.
Let's see. I don't want to see Guardians of the Galaxy and the Suicide Squad again. I think James Gunn needs to show some range now. I think now it's the time.
If he avoids that, then I think it's a win. If he does not,
yeah, I agree.
Then I think DCU will not be successful. But anyways, that was the episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for staying with us until the end of the episode. We upload episodes every Friday on Spotify and YouTube.
Hope you liked it, and yeah, see you next week, right?
I was talking, no. I was talking.
I'm sorry.
Anyways, bye.